Howdy folks, welcome to Maverick Gunworks channel. Today I'm going to talk about a 12 gauge shotgun that is very favorable for tactical situations, could be used in home defense kind of scenarios. This is the Alpha Arms Silver Eagle model, is what it's called. All right. We have 12 gauge shotgun in 3-inch chamber, made in Turkey. All right. We have a, I want to say, Benelli style recoil system, whereas the inertia system versus a gas powered system. So let's show you some of the features of this firearm. First, we're going to make sure we push a little tab here that will lock our bolt back when we open it, and we'll make sure that the chamber is empty. All right. And here we have the capacity to hold 6 rounds total. You put your first round here in your chamber, close your bolt, and load 5 more rounds into the magazine tube. All right. Anyway, I see we have a synthetic stock that has a good texturing on the pistol grip part of it. Pretty good checkering. Feels like you've got a good grip on it. Also on your forearm, you have a good checkering on the forearm part, and the forearm also includes a Picatinny rail designed to be able to mount your a laser device possibly, or a flashlight. Probably a flashlight might be a better choice with a gun like this. Anyway, and that being the same case, you have the option with a Picatinny rail on top of the receiver already from the factory. You can mount an optic up here. How about that? And if you choose not to, but you've already have a really good sighting situation, we have adjustable rear sight for elevation and windage that has green fiber optic tubes in here, and also on your front sight you're looking at a red bead on the front sight that's fiber optic. So as you're looking down through this thing, you've got it's really good bright fiber optic there. So that's again is a plus for that type of firearm. Also, we have a good cushy rubber recoil pad that is built into the stock here. So a couple good features about that gun. Made in Turkey. Alrighty. So they've done a good job, I think, on this one, especially for the price range. This gun sells for somewhere in the neighborhood of $500, depending on where you buy it at, probably. Alrighty, so let's look at taking the gun apart. If you're going to take it apart to clean it. All right. So we leave our bolt assembly open. All right. And we're going to take our magazine tube, our cap off the mag tube here. Oh, another feature I didn't think about, I forgot it. Has screw-in chokes also, so there are several chokes available for this gun. So it comes with a screw-in choke, so you can put your tool with it in here and take your choke out. So you've got some options on your pattern there. And it's a good snug fit. All right, so make sure you grip your gun good. Wiggle the barrel forward, and it will slide off. And make sure you're prepared to pull it a long ways, because that's a long magazine tube. Lay that down. Now we can take a look at our barrel assembly. Pull the forearm back, and it just slides off right there. So you can see there's no porting on the barrel. There's no seals or pistons to be concerned with as far as your gas operation on a typical similar gun like this. Inertia-driven system is very different than that. But here you'll be able to run your cleaning swabs, your solvents through your barrel, run it. Get it all cleaned up, get your wadding and plastic parts out of there, clean up your lid with some solvent, and come back with a little bit of light lubrication is all you need. And then we'll slip our forearm back onto the barrel, set it over to the side for a second, and we'll talk about taking the rest of it apart. Let's get the bolt out so we can get it all cleaned up now. And with that, I'm going to press my bolt release button here. Hold your charging handle back a little bit, press your button. You don't want it to just fly away from you. Let it come forward. All right. And now we will pull our charging handle or bolt lever, whatever you want to call it, pull it out. And it is tight. Okay. So what I suggest when you get in that situation, grab a piece of leather or cloth so you don't scar the gun, and some pliers. Pinch it right here on the lever. Well, it should pull out of there. can see that one wants to be aggravated. I know it'll come out. It's supposed to anyway. Okay. What in the world is the problem here? Because we know this is supposed to pull out. It's got a good detent in there. There it goes, by golly. Shoo. Okay, you can see a lot of manufacturing, processing oil, whatever cutting oil on this thing. Oh, that's nasty. So I would recommend taking it apart and clean it before you go shoot it anyway. Get all that manufacturing oil out of it, the cutting oil, and put some good quality firearm oil in there. So anyway, you can see your takedown lever here. Let's takedown lever. About charging handle. Has a really nice, deep detent cut into the charging handle, so that the detent ball has a really good grip on it. Keeps it from flying out when it's operating, but also makes it a little difficult to get out when you're cleaning it. Okay. I would suspect that after you've taken it apart a few times, that will get a little better. My tools that way, but I always use a thick cloth or a piece of leather. I like to use leather myself to protect the firearm from getting scratched up in that situation. Okay. And now with that handle out, we can pull our bolt assembly out, and there you go. Okay. And here you'll be able to clean this a lot easier than it would be if you had it in the gun. You can imagine that. Right, and now let's take our trigger assembly out so we can get into the inside and clean it out really good. Okay. And to take our trigger assembly out, we'll need to punch the pin. This only has one takedown pin for the trigger assembly, and there's your takedown pin. And in this case, we can see that it has a taper on one end of it, so I would suggest that you reinsert it with the taper end going forward into the gun first when you put it back together. And in this gun, it don't just pull out as far as your trigger assembly goes. You have a notch that is molded into the back of the receiver here. Actually goes I think into the back of the buttstock. So you need to push the trigger assembly forward to get it out to start with. And what I'm going to do here is my trusty plastic hammer. All right, we'll tap the trigger assembly forward to get it out of that groove, and we can tilt it a little bit, cock it up, and it'll pull out. All right. And I suggest you always do this with the hammer cocked and the safety button where you don't push it with your finger and release the hammer. Okay. So, and here you can see on our trigger assembly, we can also see that our safety crossbolt safety button has a green colored stripe on the side when it's in the safe mode. You push it over to fire, and you got a red circle there. Ready? So it's kind of a little different. I'm used to the red, but not the green on everything, on stuff like that. All right. Anyway, now we have, by golly, we have access to the whole inside of the receiver, so we can clean it out good. If you look at the trigger group itself, on the trigger group, you can see. Use my punch here as a pointer. But you can see the back of the trigger assembly has a notch molded in here. This is all a plastic, resin, whatever, molded, nylon molded housing. And the notch right here, this lump is sticking out, that is the recess that you have to push forward to disengage from the back of your receiver to get the thing out. Okay, so just be aware of that. And also, when you reassemble the gun, after you've cleaned the crud out of here and use a little bit of light lubrication on your tracks where the bolt slides. You have a track where your bolt assembly will slide into. A little bit of lubrication on that never hurts. But you see the connecting link here where this end of it pushes back onto a recoil spring that is embedded into your stock. So you got to make sure when you put it back in that this end connects and recesses with your recoil spring that is inside the buttstock. And we'll show you that when we put it back together. Okay. So anyway, there you go. That's how you take it apart. Now let's take it back together and show you a couple of little things about getting the bolt back in place correctly. Okay, I'm going to put my trigger assembly back in by having, again, our hammer cocked and our safety in the safe position so we don't accidentally pull the trigger and the hammer smack us in the finger when we didn't mean to. Alright, now I'm going to put our trigger assembly down forward. Alright, we'll slide it down. Actually I need to push. If you look at your bolt latch right here, so just push this, when I push the bolt latch button, you see the tab inside here that moves. So that could be in the way when you're trying to put your trigger group back in. So I'll try to push that down out of the way. We'll put our trigger down, forward a little bit, okay, and then we're going to pull it backwards. Okay, I'm going to push it like this. Alright, pull it back into its slot, like that, slip it into the groove. Now I can look down through the hole, get it lined up just right. Now we're going to put our pin back into our trigger group. We'll tap here. The plastic hammer goes right back in. Alright, now we can put our bolt assembly back in. Drop it in just like that. Okay, we're going to drop that down. And now if you'll notice, when I dropped it down, I cannot push the bolt back down into the receiver. And what's happened is this, the arm back here that we talked about earlier has to be mated with the pocket where your recoil spring sits. So typically what I would do is use a small punch, screwdriver or something, just wiggle it, move the arm a little bit to where you fit it, and right there, just move it a little bit, drop right back into place, and then you can move your bolt back. Okay, that's all there is to it. But make sure that's in there before you put the handle back into your bolt. Okay, I'm going to put our bolt handle back in and snap it. Okay, it's being a new firearm a little bit snug there. We'll tap, drops back down in place. Alright, by golly. Now our bolt moves like it's supposed to. And to get the bolt to stay back so it can install a barrel, we're going to push that lever down, and now our bolt stays back. Ready? Now let's look at putting our barrel back on. Okay. Again, long reach here. Get it started into your forearm. A little bit of wiggle, get it just right. And wiggle it on down, just like that. And just like that. Okay. Okay, now it fits down like it's supposed to. Alright. Okay, let's pull this down where we can see it better. Get my magazine cap back on here. Get it screwed down snug. A little wiggle, make sure that the barrel is seated all the way down. You don't want to have a big gap up here where the barrel seats onto the receiver. If you have to, take it back out, wiggle a little bit, make sure that the barrel is seated down properly. And that's good and tight. Alright, we'll snug our cap down, that's good. Now we should be able to release our bolt. And there we go, by golly. It's ready to go for action. Alright. And now we've got to put it back together. Let's do our trigger pull test and see what we have on our trigger field. What that does for us. Alright. We'll pull on it here. 6 pounds. Pretty good. Not the worst I've ever seen by any means. And again, it's not a target kind of rifle kind of thing, you know, but it is a shotgun and it's designed more for tactical use. Let's try it one more time. It's 6 pounds. That's not bad. I kind of like that idea. Just for the heck of it. We'll see what it feels like as far as the actual feel of it. It moves very little. There's not much creep on it at all. So I feel like they've done a good job on that trigger as far as a shotgun goes. Alrighty. Well, there you go, guys. That's my take on this TR Imports. That's where it comes from. Made in Turkey. Alpha Arms Silver Eagle 12 gauge shotgun. So thanks for watching, Maverick, and let us know if we can help you with something.